Welcome to The Drive with your automotive experts and hosts, Lauren Fix and Karl Brauer. Each week we deliver the latest breaking news, vehicle reviews, and inside look at what's happening in the automotive world. Buckle up, it's time to hit the road with The Drive.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. I'm Lauren Fix.
And I'm Karl Brauer.
And we are here talking about the automotive industry, but we're always talking about U.S. What happens in the U.S., what happens in Canada, but there's the whole world out there.
Exactly. And what's interesting is once a year, because we're on the World Car Jury, not just the North American Car Jury, that's the two different ones. Because we're on World Car Jury, we get exposed to journalists just like us, but from all around the globe. And we get to hear what they're driving, what they're seeing, what's going on, what are the trend lines. For instance, China's having a much bigger impact on most of the automotive markets in the planet, but because we've got a pretty protected, for better or worse, U.S. economy here and U.S. Borders, we're not seeing the Chinese come rushing in here. We've got a few things. There's a Buick made in China. There's some Lincolns made in China. There's some Volvos made in China. But most of our cars are not made there, and we certainly aren't seeing Chinese brands here like BYD and all these other ones that are out there growing like crazy. But
the impact, though, is huge.
The impact's huge, and
these
other
on
journalists
other
see it.
countries. Yeah, and they're going to give us some insight that you won't hear, I promise you, anywhere else. This is a really special episode. We're going to have people from all different countries, and we may have to go on to a second episode of this because the input that we're getting from these jurors will really impress you.
Yeah, our first one up is a gentleman from Poland who is watching the country transform before him. He said he saw it from the communist days when all the cars were terrible. What was it, Trabant and stuff, into the first versions of capitalism, and all the Germans came rushing in with Audis and Volkswagens. And now, and then then the Japanese came in after the Europeans.
And the Koreans.
And the Koreans came in, and now the Chinese are coming in, and they're able to, just like the Koreans did to the Japanese, and just like the Japanese did to the Germans, now the Chinese are doing it to all of them as far as coming in at a lower price and cutting into the market share of existing brands and existing dealer networks. So he's going to talk to us about that, and then we're going to go on to some other journalists from other parts of the world. Stay with us on The Drive with Lauren and Karl. It's going to be a fascinating episode. All right, so here we are talking to our first international World Car juror, and that's Maciej
Pertynski. We got it right.
Hey, it didn't know. He only had to tell us that about 7 times off air for us to get it right, but we got it right.
Oh, no, it's not true. They knew it.
We actually know in my
We have to be ugly Americans. That means we don't know how to say other people's names properly. That just goes with who we are, apparently.
Well, it goes both ways.
True. So tell us the outlet you're from in Poland, because rarely do you get to meet another journalist who covers the automotive industry who is from Poland.
From outside the U.S.
Okay, I've been an automotive journalist for, 31 years.
Wow, like us.
Yeah, I can relate.
Before that, I worked on the other side of the mirror. I used to work for Renault, creating the network sales and service network.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, and then I switched sides, and for almost 16 years, I used to work as an editor and a journalist in written printed press.
Mm-hmm.
The Polish branches of German automotive press. And then I said, okay, thank you.
I think we've all done that. We've all had
Now I'm a freelance journalist and a YouTuber under the name Pertyn Blendzi, with roughly Pertyn Waffles.
Yeah.
You can always find me under pertyn.com.
Spell it real quick.
Pertyn.
Pertyn.com.
Right. And
All right.
put that down in the description.
Almost my name.
Pertynski. All right.
So tell us what the automotive world is like in Poland. I mean, here in the U.S., we've got SUVs and trucks and cars. And how is it different in Poland versus what you see
Well,
here?
the greatest difference is size.
Mhm.
I mean, both the market size and the street size, which means our cars have to be smaller.
Right.
So no big F-150s.
There's
There's a lot of them.
Yes.
350s, yes, because there's lots of people who adore American cars, the trucks, the pickup trucks, and so on and so on. But well, their lives are not easy.
Yeah.
Because
The
in
nerve-wracking.
Europe, not only in Poland, in Europe, we still have the remnants of ancient history. You have never had any old town with streets that wide.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Have wide roads to
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning and the end. So yes, our cars are smaller, our streets are narrower,
Mhm.
our parking spaces are narrower.
Yeah.
This is very, very important. And the problem is all the cars in all the world, also in China even, are growing.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
In
I noticed
size.
that.
They're growing here
Every
too.
brand, yeah, it
Yes.
seems to like what was an A4 is now really small. Now the A6 is the A4 size. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about Audi
Yeah,
specifically. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So what's a popular brand? What are the top brands in Poland?
Top brands are both Japanese and Czech, which is Toyota and Skoda.
Okay.
And it's nothing exceptional for Europe. But from nothing, the Chinese brands have entered top 10 and now even top 5.
Yes.
That's huge. And we don't have Chinese cars in Canada or in the United States
Yet.
yet. Well, we'll see what happens.
Oh, maybe
but
you don't know this.
Yeah.
oh, that's true. GM has done products that
And
have,
Volvo and
Is the
they had the wall.
Yeah.
You know, so this was built in China. Now they're bringing it into the Kentucky
Say,
plant.
don't be that sure.
That-
You do have Chinese or half Chinese cars, but
Yeah.
you don't know it.
Or components.
yes.
Sometimes
We have
components.
We have one or two Chinese components in this country.
Yeah.
Yes, just a few in pretty much every car.
Yeah.
So now the Chinese cars have come into the marketplace. Have they really crushed the brands like Skoda and Toyota?
No. We'll start from the other end because Poland hasn't had its own automotive industry since the fall of socialism, which means, and before that, our automotive industry was crap.
Mm.
Let's be straight. So Polish customers, when they grew a little bit richer with the capitalism, they started buying good cars, simply good cars, which meant for a long time Volkswagen, Mercedes, and so on, so on, so on. So Germans. Then it was the time for Japanese, for Toyota, Honda, Mazda,
Mhm.
and Mitsubishi. Then the Koreans came into the play. Point is, the European automakers have always been very greedy. And the Asian brands, when they came to Poland, to Europe,
Mhm.
they accepted this attitude very quickly.
Yeah. And they were more moderate on their pricing and their quality, and it was easy for them to gobble market share.
And now the Chinese
Are
are
doing
going the
same.
very same road, with one exception.
Mhm.
The Chinese have not accepted, and they are not. They have no visible tendency to accept this attitude.
Mhm.
So, generally speaking, you can perceive it like that. There's a bunch of old guys producing very good stuff and used to having 40% margin on the cars. And then suddenly there comes a guy who's okay with 10 or even 7% margin. And he's eager still
Mhm.
to pay his dealers more than those with 40% margin.
And that's how you gobble market share, isn't it?
Yes, but it's not the only thing about Poland, at least, because as we haven't had our own automotive industry for so long, and an average Polish customer is quite willing to experiment, quite willing to get to know new things.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it was not like the Chinese entered Poland and immediately started selling. No.
Mhm.
But after the initial tests from people like me, who were also, like a dog to a hedgehog,
Mhm.
very,
Hedgehog.
very, very cautious. But then we found out that their cars are damn good.
Right. I seen some really unique technologies, and that's what consumers want.
Yes, and that's what consumers want. They want good stuff and good prices. And if you find out suddenly that the Chinese are able to offer hybrids and plug-in hybrids, which are to a certain extent better or much better than the Toyotas, then suddenly the whole situation looks completely different.
Yeah.
And Poland is perceived by the Chinese as the entrance for them to the European Union. Because we have no
Germany too.
Yes, we have no automotive industry of our own, so we're open, okay? And if we start buying Chinese, it's going to look a little bit different for the rest of European Union, which, by the way, is not so empty because MG has been Chinese for several years.
MG's a British car from way back when.
Once upon a
IZ, which is a Chinese company, has worked an agreement to use the name.
That's it. And
It has brand value.
yes, and they produce very good cars of really good quality. I mean, receivable quality.
It's very much like Volvo. People think they're buying Volvos, but they're really buying a car that's owned by Geely.
Yes, but the situation is a little bit different because when Geely bought Volvo, they treated the Swedish people, the Europeans, like that. Okay, guys, here's a black credit card.
Make the car.
Spend it any way you want, but make really good cars. The beginning is different. Like everything that the Chinese have been doing since 3 years, which is joint venture companies, but with one rule. We joined our forces, which means all the technologies, patents,
Yeah.
are going to us.
Well, we appreciate you telling us about Poland and what it's like. It's very interesting. And I think our don't realize how things are different. So we thank you for your
Yeah, thank you for your time. This is fascinating. It's very educational about what's going on in Poland.
All right.
We appreciate it. Yeah, we'll come right back with more and more international news.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. This segment is brought to you by Car Coach Reports, where you can get your automotive news in a quick, fun way 3 times a week. Check it out on YouTube, Car Coach Reports. All right, so we have another very special guest, and this time from Mexico.
Thank you for that.
Yes, we're just going all over the globe to bring you guys perspective that normally we don't get because we're, ugly Americans stuck in our own market here. So let's talk to
Market though.
kind of an important market. I'll give you that.
So I want to introduce a very good friend of ours. His name is Carlos Sandoval. Wonderful guy, very knowledgeable. And you are the #1 juror from Mexico. And you've got some really interesting perspective.
I would never say #1. I just like I say okay. I enjoy cars. I enjoy it from the Mexican perspective, of course. It is a very interesting market, and I've been working there for 20 years already.
Wow. So you started when you were like
20
10 or something and all?
24.
Wow. Okay. you barely look like
As
this.
well, too, right?
Well, I did in some time, but not now. Actually, I just do YouTube, social, newspaper, print, and digital.
Wow.
Web, and radio.
So you're like us, you understand.
So he has 1 or 2 outlets, in other words.
Yeah.
Based.
So tell us what the Mexican car market is like. I mean, you now have Chinese cars there, which we don't have in Canada and the U.S. So tell us how the market has changed. And there's a lot of U.S. cars being built in Mexico as well as other countries.
Well, before the Chinese, if I remember correct, there were 55, 56 brands, not groups, just brands in Mexico, officially on sale.
Okay.
Now we have 95 brands.
95 brands?
Yes, correct.
In the Mexico.
That stays together, too.
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Yes, it's huge. I mean, it's the same phenomenon that is happening, for example, in Chile or Argentina. They usually got the Chinese first, and they have a wide variety of Chinese brands, even more than us. But we got, I will say maybe we got the newest now. So some advantage or not, but we have a bunch of options over there.
What's the volume, Mexico, annual?
Usually it's 1.5 to 1.6 million. Last year was 1.45 something around.
So 1.5.
Yes.
1.5 million cars.
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, Mexico City is the largest city there. What are some of the dominant brands in the Mexico market?
Well, it's so funny because, Mexico's number one brand, you want to guess, it's Nissan. It has
Nissan.
17% of market share now.
Wow.
It is I might say, is the largest market share they have in any country.
That sounds like it. I don't know if they've got
They
17.
used to have 4 factories, now they have only 2, put them together. They closed 2 factories, and in the last few months, the oldest factory actually was the first factory, Nissan or Datsun at the time, opened outside Japan, was in Mexico. Well, not Mexico City, but very, very close, like an hour from Mexico City in Cuernavaca, where I was born. I was born there because of that plant. That's another story. But
That's part of why you're a car person, clearly.
actually it is. Here, but and then they have this huge complex in Aguascalientes, Aguas Uno, Aguas Dos, and now they share a third facility over there with Mercedes, Compass. But now they're selling Compass and they're selling Cuernavaca, their first outside Japan factory in the world.
What's the models that they're selling in Mexico?
Well, Nissan manufactures a lot, but the point is that, for example, the pickups that they manufacture in Cuernavaca, they have space to a location to move them to Aguascalientes,
Okay.
and it's an old factory. They can just get rid of it and save some money.
Okay.
And actually, for those 2 plants, there are a bunch of Chinese, at least 4 that I heard so far that I've raised.
Scrambling. They want that plant. Yeah.
Can I? Yes, why not?
Wow. So you got Chinese producing cars. You get the Germans. Audi has a plant there. I've been to that plant.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of Ram trucks are built down there.
That might change. That might change.
There's
A
a-
lot of interesting cars because materials, and I don't think people understand this. A car may be assembled in the U.S., but the components come from Mexico. So
Yes.
the vehicles go back and forth across the border multiple times.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's part of
Well,
what's
and Mexico benefited from the previous trade agreements, right? The North American trade.
NAFTA was the first
NAFTA,
one.
yeah,
I would put it like I think maybe Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, also both of them.
Yes, all 3 of them benefited.
Because at the end, manufacturing in Mexico, it was very cheap.
Yes.
Maybe I'm not sure if it is still that cheap, but it actually is maybe cheaper than China.
Yeah.
Manufacturing in Mexico. So everybody gets its own part of
Sure.
by doing it over there. Yeah.
But now you get USMCA, which is supposed to be renegotiated. So we'll see how that impacts Mexico.
But-
And anyone who lives in the lower half of the country who has visited Mexico, you drive across and see completely different cars. So what's going on with the electric car market there? Is that something that's...
It's growing, not at the pace what we've been looking at, but we have a bunch of companies that are installing fast charging networks.
Okay.
A bunch of Chinese brands betting on it. Actually, we have a new association like only related to car industry. It's real electric cars, specifically electric cars, and those are growing so fast. Maybe 150% every year in increase. So
Even with everything going on in North America where there no longer is the $7,500 tax credit.
yes, but that is mostly because of the Chinese, because Chinese are bringing a lot of electric vehicles to Mexico, or at least plug-in hybrid.
Well, how about the infrastructure?
It's growing, not at the pace we would love to, but people is figuring out. There is a very specific case. The Dolphin Mini, remember the last year won the World Urban Car?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We couldn't bring it over here, but maybe next year we will. The point is that car is selling everywhere like we sell it in Mexico, like pan caliente, like hot, just recently made bread.
Wow.
Everybody
Hot
wants
pancakes.
hot pancake. It's cheap, it's good, and it's affordable. Everybody's charging everywhere with that.
Really?
Wow.
Well, we've been talking to different people from different markets. That's the whole point. We're here at the World Car Testing, and it's just fabulous not only to see all these different cars from all over the planet, but all these different people from all over the planet too, and
Right.
interact with them.
Of
And
course, we get people coming on, so you want to stay with us for the next half hour. We have people from India and people from Germany and people from different areas. The whole idea is that we want you to understand what the car market is like. It's not just the United States, it's the world.
believe it or not, there's car activity outside the borders of the U.S. Some would say they're even getting bigger than us, like in China. But
Right.
Carlos, thank you from one Carl to another. Thank you for your time here, and we'll appreciate your time here.
We should discuss about China later.
Yes, we'll talk China too. That's a huge discussion.
Yeah.
But we'll be right back with more The Drive with Lauren and Karl.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. This time we have a very special guest who's more than just a journalist. He's very famous in his country, but he's also on the steering committee for the World Car of the Year jury. And this is Sid, I'm saying your name wrong, hopefully I don't. Patankar?
That's good.
I got it correct. Okay, Sid, first tell us a little bit about yourself and about India and the cars. I mean, you got a really interesting history.
Yeah, we were just talking to a gentleman from Poland. So we've switched continents. We've certainly switched countries, and I think we've switched a lot of cultural elements too. So please tell us what.
All of that is true. Yes. It's great to see you guys. It's always nice to see you here.
Absolutely.
I think it's difficult to describe our market in just like a short sentence because it's very, very diverse. Different parts of the country, consumers will behave differently. So it's not easy for manufacturers to sort of plot, one size fits all. And you could say that's true for most countries, but it just takes on like this whole other dimension in India. It becomes really complicated for cultural reasons, for reasons of geography and climate. And then we have certain trends which are obviously global, which catch on in India, but then there's some stuff that's very specific to our market. So like everywhere else, though, we love our SUVs right now. That's the stuff that's growing.
And
Other kinds of shapes and sizes.
it's good in every city because you've got big cities and you've got a lot of rural too.
The thing with SUVs is that when I say SUV, this isn't about off-roading or any kind of, capability
Yeah.
off-road. It's more about ride height. And a lot of that comes from a sense of confidence people get because in the past, we didn't have great infrastructure. There are still parts of India that may not have great infrastructure. A lot of it is actually pretty good now. But there is this whole thing about, if I'm just sitting up higher, I'm sort of covered. I can do more. And it could be a big pothole or it could be like a downpour like what we're having here right now and flooding on the road. And you're just sort of safer in an SUV. So that's one of the reasons they continue to be popular and, the car makers have a better margin.
Which is funny because a lot of those things aren't really true here. I mean, they got popular here because people wanted to look like they were adventurous.
Oh, no, there's that too.
But
There is that too.
But they didn't actually need them. I think there's
It's a
some
lifestyle image thing.
sure.
There's that.
But ultimately, there's also some potential to actually need the advantages that an SUV gives you in a lot of India, and there really isn't in most of the U.S.
Well, the thing is that in all these places that I'm talking about, where people buy these cars for those reasons, you'll also see these little tiny hatchbacks just doing everything that the car is doing. So,
And just getting a little more beat up. They're getting the cars and the people inside are getting a little more beat up when they do those.
yeah, it's like,
You also have like people that ride like 6 people on a scooter, which we don't do here.
Not yet.
by law, we're not supposed to do it there also.
That is-
I mean,
yeah.
it's changing pretty rapidly though. And what's nice is that it's changing because of the awareness around it. It's not just that, people are getting better sort of access to more transport.
Yeah.
But they also now understand the whole safety thing, which was just not a thing till, a couple of decades ago.
Right.
And then there's better opportunities. So more people can buy their own products. There's also better public transport now than there used to be. So, but yeah, you'll still see that.
So what about electrification? Is that something that the EV market, is that
Yeah.
something that
How's that work there? Because we complain about the infrastructure here still in the U.S., even in Southern California. So how's the infrastructure in India for charging of an EV?
So it's not widespread. It's not great. And the thing is that in India, there's a different kind of logic that works. People will latch on to something if they see value in it. If they think it's like it's working for them, then they'll find a way to make it work. So we have this word in India called jugaad, which has become kind of famous. And it basically means that you'll find a way around a problem and you'll find a quick fix to it. And it comes out of ingenuity. It comes out of just thinking on your feet, and it can apply in many different things. So even with this, a lot of people have realized that, initially they were waiting for the infrastructure and they were like, oh, we're on the fence. We're not sure about this. Then they started to see the upside in terms of how much money they'd save over, petrol or gasoline. And then they started to say, all right, so if we can figure out like even a slow charger in our home or in the community, we're all right because there's not tons of people wanting to charge cars right now.
Right.
And you can leave it there for 8-10 hours, no problem. And then you can drive around the whole week because the distances in smaller towns aren't that much.
And
So-
I remember that here where like the infrastructure was actually a little ahead of use and you could go sit on a level 2 charger for 3 days and no one else would care about it. And now it's switched and there's a
Yeah.
line of cars and
Well,
nobody's
it's starting like that in some of the cities now where you do see a line, but the apps are great too. And what's nice is a lot of the brands are working with, they're sort of cross-working on the apps.
Okay.
So you can see a free charger, book it, and then go there. And that's the other good thing about India, that even though we've such a vast population and such a varied population,
Mhm.
people catch on to technology really quickly, surprisingly quickly.
Okay.
So things like apps and smartphones and just ways for it to, because there's so many of us, I think you always want to find an efficient way to get ahead.
Now, you had said there were things that were very similar in the Indian market to US, but you said there were things that were very specific that were not like really anywhere else. Do you have an example of something that you consider very unique to India's car market?
Well, we have this very interesting segment of vehicle called the sub 4 meter vehicle.
The sub 4 beater?
Sub 4 meter.
Yeah, meter.
Sub 4 meter, which is kind of, are they called the key cars?
No, it's not that small.
Okay.
That's the weird thing. I mean, it should have been that because that already existed.
Yeah.
But
That's in other
basically,
countries.
That's in Japan.
different countries.
Japan has key.
And those, for us, we would think are too small.
Okay.
So it needs to be ample enough. And if you look at a car like the Hyundai Venue, which you
Okay.
had here,
Yeah.
that's an example of that.
Okay.
It's a car like the hatchbacks were always, shorter than 4 meters anyway. So which is why for the longest time India was a hatchback market. But the reason for this is because the taxation on these cars is lesser. So there's an incentive that they become more affordable.
Yeah.
And then, the auto industry, trust them to come up with solutions. So now we have sedans that have been squeezed into that and SUVs that have been squeezed into that.
Everyone wants the big incentive. That's funny because here in the US, everything's gone the other direction.
And it's purely how long the vehicle is. So in theory,
Well, there's also a restriction in displacement terms for the engine. So if it's diesel, it's 1.5 and below.
But there's not a height one. Are you seeing things
No.
grow
We
vertically?
have seen that a lot with the whole SUV craze.
Okay.
And we don't have a restriction yet,
Okay.
any kind of incentive. But the thing is that luckily we've also coincidentally got much stricter safety norms. So things like, the stability of the car and all of that is coming into play as well.
So they can't just keep getting tall because then they're going to start having a tipish.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. I mean, this is the kind of thing we're trying to, present to the listeners and the viewers is just how varied the world is when it comes to cars. And it gets to be kind of geocentric. It's all about the US and everyone's just like us. And it's like, no, it's kind of the opposite. So we really like hearing about what's going on in other countries.
I appreciate it.
And India is an increasingly important market, just like China. It's rapidly growing and it's becoming a hotbed of activity. So
Hearing to 4.5 million cars being sold every year now.
Wow. We're going to be huge.
Most cars are made in India. So
wow.
it's also a huge export hub.
See, you guys are going to start shipping cars to the rest of the world, just like China's already doing pretty soon.
Maybe very
They're
soon.
already doing it.
Yes, fabulous. All right, Sid, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
This has been great. We're going to take a quick break here on the drive with Lauren and Karl, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to the Drive with Lauren and Karl. This segment brought to you by Issy Tire Socks. Winter roads? No problem. Get instant traction with Issy Tire Socks, the clean, easy alternative to chains. Like a sock, they're easy to install. Available at Amazon and Walmart. That's ISSE Tire Socks. Really Issy.
So, who have we got in front of us now? Who have we dragged into the drive show with Lauren and Karl today that is from yet another country?
Well, Jens Miner is one of my favorite people. He's from Germany. We've known each other a long time, but you also live here in the US.
Yes.
So you have a really interesting perspective. Plus, he's in charge of the German Car of the Year and also the Design Awards. So you've got a lot.
Plus the history, car and driver. I mean, you've kind of done everything
And
in
car.
in two countries. You've done a lot. So with that belabored intro, Jens Miner, please tell us about your history and kind of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
The German world.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me on. Absolutely two of my favorite colleagues and friends. This is a great time of the year. In Pasadena, on the foothills of the St. Gabriel Mountains. We do this every year with the World Car Awards, and we've had a great time driving cars and talking cars. I've been doing motor journalism for going on 25 years, I think. I started as a law student on the side, and I've basically made it my career. Have worked for Car and Driver, Automotive News, a bunch of other websites and magazines. And I'm now chairman emeritus already of the World Car Awards. I've co-founded the German Car Awards, and I've created a design event, CDE, which is growing really nicely. We've dragged 350 people through it in Munich this year. I'm also, like you guys, I'm a real car guy.
Yes, you are. And you own some pretty...
You've got a great fleet, yes.
I love cars. I've always loved cars. I think it was my second word. Papa Auto Mama.
Mom must have been happy about that.
Yes, the lore. And currently I have a BMW Z4 actually in the US.
It's D4 for Americans.
870 manual. And in Germany, I have a fleet of basically collectibles. I get all the new stuff in the test cars. So I like to keep my old cars. I've currently registered a Maserati Biturbo, a Mercedes 6.9, and a Lada Niva that some people think is a geopolitical statement.
A Lada.
A lot of from
It's
the
a Russian car.
right from the
And they're not great.
pre-wall coming down in Germany, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. It was launched in 77. It basically cobbled together from the Fiat parts bin in the early 70s.
Yeah.
I like your Sandoval is probably more accurate.
Yes. And now there was that car, and then there was the Trabant.
No, well, there was a Trabant, but I've never owned
No, you've never owned one, but I'm saying that was
communism.
that was another, relic of that era, right? Was the Lada and the Trabant,
Skoda, of course.
Skoda,
Skoda.
which is still around.
By Volkswagen. That's another Volkswagen group.
Yeah, now it's
Volkswagen is doing incredibly well.
yeah.
In fact, just today we came out the Skoda Elrock won German Car of the Year
Wow.
with a margin. It's one of the latest cars off the MEB platform, and it's
Really?
as far as compact SUVs go, electric SUVs, it's perfection. But I want to defend the Lada Niva here. It is actually one of the earliest SUVs, crossover SUVs in a way,
Okay.
because it came at a time when in the West we had things like the VW thing.
Yes.
There was the Fiat Campagnola,
Yeah.
completely rustic, and anything that was remotely car-like was a Range Rover
Yes.
price level, and that was pretty much it. And you had the American ones, of course, that were too big for Europe.
Right.
Yeah, and the Niva's actually, for an off-roader, it's pretty soft. And it still looks good. I think it inspires some of the modern cars. I mean, Rivian denies this, but I think there's a... Jeff would did not agree, but I think if you look at the Rivian 3, there you could see some similar...
So what we're going to need is you got to give us a photo, and we'll be dropping it in right now so that we can have that. We're serious. You too. And you could. All right. Well, we're going to see whether our viewers agree that there may be some Rivian inside your Lada or not. But beyond that, tell us what's going on in the German market. And really, the German market, you could make an argument, is kind of the temperature check for the European market in a lot of ways. It's the biggest automaker. It's got the most market share in that continent. But yet there's some incursions going on from some other automakers from other countries that we've probably heard of in this discussion already earlier. What's going on?
Germany does have the biggest market, Europe. It's well over 2 million per year.
Okay.
It's still dominated not just by the Volkswagen Group, but by the Volkswagen brand.
Okay.
Top cars are still the Golf, the outgoing, T-Roc, the Tiguan.
It's Tiguan here. It's called a T-Roc.
No, T-Roc is a smaller one.
A smaller one. So that's like a Taos.
Exactly.
Okay.
Taos, but a bit more sophistication. But only, except for the R version, only front-wheel drive anymore. So that tells you something about the SUVs in Europe. Let's
Practical.
like India. We just talked to us about the Indian market. There's some use for an SUV beyond the style.
Right.
But in Germany,
Fuel efficiency.
it's all about fuel efficiency, and a lot of these small SUVs are just front-wheel drive.
Right.
So SUVs are strong. VW is still strong. The diesel, which once was at about 50%, has dropped to something like just over 10. I think they're around 12, 15%. And that's a real shame, because I think the emissions, and I'm convinced the emissions problem is solved, and it's as clean as a gasoline-powered car.
And they would make great hybrids. Can you imagine one as a hybrid?
Diesel hybrid. We got 70 miles to the gallon or 80 miles a gallon, I'm told.
Mercedes does those. The diesel hybrid.
All along.
Unbelievable.
So, sales.
So this is a really important point. We're going to come back because Jens has got so much to say. So we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back, but we got to talk more about hybrid diesels and more of the German market and the rest of Europe. So we'll be right back after this short break from The Drive with Lauren and Karl. All right, welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl, and right now, Jens as well. And this segment is brought to you by iSeeCars, iSeeCars.com, the best online search engine for those looking for their next car. We've got all the dealer listings, but you've also got a lot of data and guidance, and I might be a little biased because I'm the executive analyst there, but we are producing a lot of great content, like when's the best time of the year to buy? We just put that study up. Jens, we were talking about the potential for hybrid diesels and the kind of mileage you would get, because it's literally perfect. You've got
Of everything.
electric motor for 0 to 30, 40, and you've got a diesel engine that can loaf along at highway speeds and get the best mileage. Ergo, diesel trucks, semi-trucks, and all the other diesel uses. So, but the whole VW scandal blew up the whole diesel thing. Everyone's like, they're all evil and terrible and we can't have them. They're going to destroy the planet. And there were issues there, but it was really kind of like a fudging of some numbers there. The fundamental functions of diesel combustion and the cleanliness of diesel combustion
And longevity.
is better than ever, if I'm not mistaken.
Fully agree. And I think the diesel scandal in some ways was blown entirely out of proportion. And the politicians basically used it in bad faith to try to kill the combustion engine.
Yes.
Particularly the diesel. Diesel hybrids would make a lot of sense. Only Mercedes does them. The reputation of the diesel is so tarnished that nobody would really get venture into that dirt.
2 diesel SUVs. I'm not getting rid of them.
Yeah.
I have one of
The people who know.
We know, yes. And they last forever. You just need a lot of oil changes.
I have one interesting one. I have a Renault Laguna V6 diesel. That is Patrick Leclerc's personal car. An incredible, a mid-sized
Who is it?
France, Renault.
Oh, Renault.
Yeah.
Renault
Yeah.
diesel. Okay, so it's a Renault diesel. What year?
That's a 2008.
Okay.
And in fact, it does everything perfectly. Everything that today's cars do. Is swiveling headlights, the phone connects.
In 2008?
In 2008,
Wow.
what it doesn't have is the nanny systems.
Right.
And the anti-steering wheel.
So it's like the perfect,
Microphone.
though it's the perfect car, basically, is what you're saying.
The perfect car. And the mileage it gets is unbelievable. I get like 650 miles of range. Top starts at 150.
And have you got that in Europe, obviously,
I
not
have
in the US, but that's part of your European fleet.
But let's go to EVs and PHEVs.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are a lot of gasoline PHEVs, combining the worst of both worlds.
So definitely, it's funny because we've had sung past shows where there's like, it's the best of both worlds, except for the mechanic, our master tech, Greg Damon from KMOX Radio. He says they're the worst as far as maintenance and the work that has to be done.
Yeah, I agree. And they don't give you pleasure when you drive them. Okay, you have the monsters like the BMW M5. You have the extra electric boost.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced they're heavily subsidized and favored by the tax code in Germany. And that's true even more so of EVs. So the EVs have a significant market share, but it's mostly...
It doesn't represent reality. And by the way, if we're going to talk about Volkswagen and EVs, fine. We also have to talk about, for instance, Volkswagen's latest financial numbers. And how did those look?
Those aren't good.
See, we have to have...
This is the Chinese coming into the market. And we were talking to Maciej about the Polish market, and they're letting all these Chinese cars in, and so did Germany.
The Chinese have quietly been making inroads.
Yeah.
Very quietly, MG, without much press work and without much advertising, has surpassed Honda, for instance, in the German market.
Wow.
You know,
And that is a company called SAIC that is who's building MG, using the MG name, which is a British.
I just have to make sure it's clear. The company MG has surpassed Honda. Anyone who's got a historical perspective on what the MG company was for most of its history and what Honda's been for most of its history.
but they do a delightful electric roadster called the Cyberster. I was actually blown away. I wouldn't buy one because if I buy a roadster, I would want to keep it for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to be able to see a mountain pass. I don't want to have to look at charge and
Exactly. Ooh, how far can I go?
But-
And I'm glad to hear that they, on some level, are staying true to their heritage. If MG has made a fun roadster, so that's good news.
yeah.
Well, this is really interesting, Jens. I mean, again, what's going on in the industry
In other
across the
countries, too.
country, across the planet, and hearing the perspective. That's exactly what we wanted to get for this episode, because we have all these international journalists,
And there's so many more.
and they're seeing beyond just our market, which is the important part, because it's easy to think that it's all just, well, everything's just like the US, but it's not. So you're helping us see that, and that's what we want. This is really cool. Thank you again for organizing World Car and including Lauren and I in it. The process has been a blast out here.
And a lot of
in
great
Pasadena.
people to
A
it.
lot of great people.
And we'll be posting all of our content on the World Car Awards. You can follow those. The winners will be announced at the New York Auto Show in March of this year.
We love having you as jurors. You know cars, you know how to evaluate them. You get the message out. So thank you for being here. And it was a pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jens. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to The Drive, your trusted source for the latest car news, expert reviews, and real insights into the automotive world. Thanks for riding along with us today. You can check out the entire archive of every episode on our YouTube channel, The Drive with Lauren and Karl. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and join the conversation by leaving your comments. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay safe, enjoy the ride, and we'll see you right back here on The Drive.